Hi, I'm Gregg Curtis. I'm the technical director for Aerial Yoga, and I just wanted to describe for you how to construct the Engineered AIReal Yoga Freestanding rig. Okay? It's a process that you could do with one person, but I recommend doing it with two. It's a little safer and a little bit easier. But I'll set it up by myself with just one person so that you can see how I do that. But then I recommend setting up with two people. Okay? And so the first piece you're going to have is this header right here. And this header piece is going to be the one that sits up top, and you're going to have the legs that connect to it, right? The next pieces you're going to have are these little spigots. These little spigots are just like that, okay? And they slip into, in the first step, they slip right into the upper leg, okay? So they slip in there. You line up the holes, and then you stick the lower pin into that hole. And you do that on each of the four legs. So I've already done those, but each leg has a spigot in the sleeve connected with a pin. Okay? Just like that. You also have these bolts, these grade 8 bolts with wing nuts on the top. Okay? And we're going to use that to connect the upper leg to the header bar. Okay? And then the last piece are these lower leg pieces which have the feet on them. Okay? And there's a marking on each one. There's a left or a right, an L or an R. So on each side of the header, you're going to have a left and a right. Okay? And that'll come into play later. So, step one was connecting the spigot to the upper leg. Step two is connecting the upper leg to the header bar. Okay? And so what you want to do is take the upper leg, and if you notice, there's two slots at the top. There's a slot that's 2.5 inches long and a slot that's 3.5 inches long. Okay, on these first ones, you're going to take the 3.5 inch slot and put it on the bottom. Okay, and then you're going to slot that in to the lower holes. Just like that. And then you're going to take one of these bolts and slip it through. I find that it's easier to do the lower hole first. Okay, and you just let that line up. And once it's lined up, it'll just slip right through. Just like that. And then you take a wing nut and you tighten the wing nut, but not too tight. You don't have to really yam down on it. It just needs to be finger tight. You take a second bolt and slip it through the upper hole and let it go all the way, and then attach the wing nut. Again, not too tight. You might need to move one wing nut out of the way of the other if they get in the way of each other. You do the same thing on the other side. Remember, there's a longer slot and a less long slot. The longer slot on this first one goes on the bottom. Okay? So line that up. And you're going to take your grade 8 bolt, find the hole, slide it through, and then use the wing nut just finger tight. There you go. For the upper hole, you can take the second grade 8 bolt, slip that right through. Wing nut. Finger tight. Okay, so that's the lower. Then you're going to take the other 2 top legs, do the same thing, but this time you're going to take the longer slot and put that on the top. Okay? So slot that in. Actually prepare your wing nut first, your bolt and your wing nut, so you have your bolts free to fit on there. So let that slot on. Use the lower hole first, the hole that's closer to you first. It'll make it easier to line up. And then you can take the other bolt and find the upper hole. Really easy. Obviously, the first time you set this up, it's going to be a little trickier and you're going to figure it out. But the learning curve is very steep. You'll learn after a time or two, and it'll go much faster. Okay? Good. Make sure those wing nuts are free of each other. So that's the second side. I come back over to the other side. Again, the longer slot on top. Second bolt, kind of use this pull to just make your adjustment until it slides right through. There you go. Wing nut 1, hand tight, out of the way of the other one, and then wing nut 2. Good. Now you have your whole small quadruped. You can just flip that up nice and easy and sit it down. Just like that. Okay, at this point you want to attach your hammock. I'm using a carabiner to attach, but you can also use a shackle that fits quite nice as well. And then you have your swivel and of course your hammock with your rigging on it. Okay? So once you're there, okay, this is where you're going to have to do a little investigating. On this header, it says R and L. And on the feet of these legs, there's an R or an L. Okay? This one's an L. I'll put that one in first. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to reach down and lift up. Tip that rig right up and then just slip that leg right into place. Line up the hole and then slip the pin in. Okay, you can make a little adjustment until the pin goes right through. Just like so. This isn't going anywhere at this point. There's only really one moment that you really have to be concerned about, and I'll show you that in a second. This is make sure it's our right. We did our left. There's an R on it. It's on the right side over here. We slip that in. Ready to go. There we go. Coming over to the other side, here's the moment where if you have somebody available or if you can find somebody in the park, they can help you. But if you want to do it by yourself, you tip it up. Actually, make sure you have the right leg. In this case, I'm going to do the left. I have the left leg. Okay, I'm going to hold it on the inside. I'm going to lift up really high. Keep lifting until it's ready to go. And you just slip it into place. Once it's in place, you're safe. Okay? It's just this moment from getting it here to here that could take a little getting used to. Okay? Then you slip this pin in. And you're ready to go. These pins, now, the first couple of times you do them, they'll be stiff. Once you do it a couple of times, it'll bore out a little bit the hole, and you'll be fine. Okay? Yep, I put this one upside down. So this one goes this way, actually. All right, last one. Again, this is fine. It's not going anywhere, right? Last one. It's going to go just like so. Slip it on. Line up those holes. Make sure those feet are sitting the way you want them to sit, and you should be fine there. Put the pin in, and mission complete. Okay? That is all set. Just like that. Now you can also use those little adjusters that I'm going to describe to you in the next video. But if you're on flat ground, you should be fine with these. Okay? The rig moves quite easily. It will set a little bit. Shouldn't be much. It'll just set into place, but it's not going anywhere. It'll stop itself when it finds its happy home. Okay? So that's how you set up the aerial yoga engineered freestanding rig.